In order for companies to successfully expand to a new market, they must carefully study the new market and consumers of that market. This can be achieved through identifying the segmentations of the market, which include global market segmentation, demographic segmentation, psychographic segmentation, behavior segmentation, and benefit segmentation. Once the company has identified the segmentation of the new market, it is then followed by targeting. In this step, companies evaluate and compare groups to identify their exact target market. Targeting is followed by positioning the product or the brand in the market and distinguishing it for the targeted consumers. The case study showcases how cosmetic companies such as L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, Shiseido are segmenting the global cosmetic market in order to help them expand in multiple geographic locations. This presentation will discuss how different are the preferences for cosmetics and beauty from country to country. Second, it will assess what could be fixed about Estee Lauder's strategy for China. And third, what is Shiseido's most ideal positioning strategy for expanding in Asia? And last, it will discuss if L'Oreal is going to be successful in changing the buying habits of Brazilian women.
Question 1. How do women's preferences for cosmetics and beauty care vary from country to country? Women all over the world are influenced by their country's culture, and this is no different to when we look at the beauty industry. A women's culture has a lot to do with their perception of beauty. For example, in China, pale white skin is seen to be superior and is associated to wealth. That's why in China, whitening and brightening products are in high demand. This desire for white skin goes back throughout China's history. In ancient China, pale skin was indicated of one's social status. Because farmers and labourers devoted long hours to outdoor labour, they experienced long exposure to the sun, resulting in darker skin tones. Those with higher social class, on the other hand, did not face such necessary need for manual labour and remained indoors. Whereas in the likes of Japan, foundation is the key product that women are focused on. Japanese women prefer to use a compact foundation rather than a liquid due to the humidity of the weather. Research also suggests Japanese women cleanse their face twice a day due to the humidity again. For Japanese women, it's important that their compact foundation does not clog their pores, and that's why it's crucial for companies selling to this market to consider cleansers that are not too harsh for the skin. The next country is India. India is known for their long luscious hair. Indian women are most concerned about keeping their hair healthy with no grace, especially women in their 20s. However, the common barrier the cosmetic market had in India is a price point. A large portion of the market is living on less than $2 a day. If companies want to compete in the Indian market, they need low-priced products that women can afford. So for the case here, price is a major contributor to the Indian women and their preference in cosmetics, especially hair dyes. The next country we have is Brazil. Brazil is also a huge market for the cosmetic and beauty industry. They spend a lot of money on beauty products and are ranked the third largest global cosmetic market. Hair products do really well in Brazil, due to being a very hair-cultured country. However, other products like makeup are starting to become more popular. A new fad that has hit the Brazilian market recently is body creams. They have been doing extremely well, and there are many different assorts to target different areas of the body. This case study looks at countries China, Japan, India, and Brazil. but even in the likes of our own country, Australia. We see beauty trends across the country. The common trend we see at the moment is lash extensions. Young females all over Australia are taking a liking to this trend. And the lash pop culture is becoming very evident through places such as Melbourne, Sydney, and the Gold Coast. Women's preferences for cosmetics and beauty care products do vary from country to country. From weather and humidity levels to a country's economic status and their various reasons to why women all over the world perceive beauty differently.
Estee Lauder should continue to focus on positioning themselves as being a premium brand. Specifically, a premium brand is a brand that gives you the best features at the best value. So, because they're providing high quality products, consumers are willing to pay a high price for it as they feel that the product is worth it. Estee Lauder should continue expanding from Tier 1 cities because they only make up for 9% of China's population. By expanding to Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, not only will their product be available in approximately 260 new locations, more than 200 million people would then be exposed. Further, whilst Chinese consumers are generally price sensitive, at the same time they are willing to invest in products that are relatively expensive versus their income levels because they are confident about the future. Estee Lauder, while being an expensive aspirational luxury brand, comes at a price that is much more affordable than Louis Vuitton and other brands of that nature. Conclusively, Estee Lauder is not in the super premium luxury world. At best, they are selling creams valued at €300. By expanding to Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, because their products are not very expensive and the population has a high willingness to spend versus their income, even at lower incomes, the populations in those cities should still have a high majority of potential purchasers.
When looking to expand into a new location, it is important to understand what type of market method will match the consumer base and type of product that the company is marketing. When looking at the expansion of Sade further into Asia, it is important they understand the location that they are moving into. Sade is the second largest cosmetic brand in Japan. This shows they already have an advantage when expanding into Asia because they already have some knowledge of the Asian women demand. When Sade was planning to expand, they first had to find a perfect way to ensure that their move would be successful into Asia. I will be discussing both high-touch and high-tech marketing plans that will carry on the success that they have already had in Japan. A high-touch campaign involves direct personal interactions. This may include speaking in groups or on radio, networking, conducting classes, and having demonstrations. If Sade decides to go down this path, they may use methods such as having beauty consultants give advice to women in store, or have beauty consultants give out free samples. This will be beneficial to this type of expansion because they will be able to test their products before buying them, giving the women of Asia confidence in their product before purchasing. A high-tech method relies on indirect contact with customers. This includes the use of modern technology such as social media. This method requires no personalizing, which is cost-effective because they can publish it to a mass audience. Sade could also use this method when first entering the market to get their name out there. An example of this could be using traditional ads such as billboards to reach a large audience in a small period of time, which will be beneficial when trying to get the business out there. They could also start a Facebook campaign, which will give them a chance to get their message across and show their new target market their brand values. Many businesses can use both methods to ensure the success of their campaign. A mix of both methods will help a company reach more consumers, because people like to shop in different ways. When combining these two methods, I believe it is best to start by using a high-tech approach, because it's cost-effective and can reach a larger audience in a shorter period of time. Once their brand starts to become more recognized, they could start to use a high-touch method to give clients a chance to test their products by holding makeup and beauty classes. With these two combined, Sade will be able to reach their audience both online using social media and audiences in stores through samples and makeup classes. Overall, I would recommend using both methods together as it gives the business more coverage when starting in a new location.
Hi, my name is Marwa. I will discuss the last question, which is about Do you think L'Oreal will succeed in changing the buying habits of Brazilian women? Um, Brazil is one of the fast growing emerging markets of the cosmetics and personal care product. However, unlike in US and Europe, Brazilian women mainly buys their cosmetics from sales individuals that usually go door to door. In this manner, shifting from only displaying their products in drugs and department stores to adding personal beauty advisors will take their sales to another higher level. The sales will increase because this strategy of one-on-one selling and promotion is similar to the door-to-door selling, only that the former advisors are stationed at the store. So, in addition, it is possible that L'Oreal's strategy will succeed to change the buying habits of the Brazilian women if the market develop into new range of approach with a higher technology, better that will give their consumers easy and flexible access to the product, as well as Brazilian women will need to be more continue when going to pharmacies and drug stores. Um, L'Oreal has operated in Brazil for many years, and the focus has been on hair products. Around the world, makeup and skincare represent about 15% of L'Oreal sales, but in Brazil, these categories represent only about 15% of sales. Moreover, I think L'Oreal will succeed in changing the buying habits of Brazilian women by customizing their products in order to change some habits, but not all of them. It should be a difficult process because of the fact that each country has its own taste and preference. Regardless, that we all know that L'Oreal is one of the largest companies in the cosmetics market, that they will have to create new products that meet certain requirements and taste of the women's in Brazil. The implementations of this strategy will help to gain respect and acceptance of the brand in the country again.
L'Oreal, Estée Lauder, and Shiseido are examples of companies seeking to expand to a new geographic market, and each of these companies has proceeded with their own appropriate methods. And to summarize, culture could be considered as a major influence on the standards of beauty in a specific country. Therefore, women's preferences for cosmetics and beauty varies from country to country depending on their culture. Second, expanding to Tier 2 and 3 cities in China could be largely beneficial for Estée Lauder, as it will give the brand a larger exposure in the Chinese market. Third, for Shiseido, using both high-touch and high-tech positioning strategies could be considered as the most ideal approach, as it will provide a greater coverage for the brand in new locations. Last, L'Oreal has the ability to change the buying habits of Brazilian women, as the strategy of one-on-one selling is very similar to door-to-door sales, which is what the Brazilian women are usually used to.